This is Greg Shelton with Historic Living, Modern World. Some of you may know I'm from a small water town known as Chesapeake City, Maryland. And Maryland is the home of the blue crab. And many of you already know that when you're from Maryland and you're a small little guy, one of the first things you learn how to do is pick a steamed crab. I'm really excited today because I'm going to teach you how to make the perfect crab cake sandwich. Okay, the blue crab. The history of the blue crab is amazing because you can catch a blue crab all the way up from Nova Scotia all the way down to Uruguay. And one amazing fact to know is Chesapeake Bay makes up 50% of the nation's crab harvest. So that's just an amazing thing to know. And everyone always wants to know, why the Chesapeake Bay? Why are the best crabs coming from that hotbed? And really it's all about the brackish water. A little bit of sea salt mixed with a little standard water. Together it's a perfect habitat for the blue crab to flourish. And that's exactly why our crabs are the best. Absolutely one of the most important things you're doing when you're making the best, almost perfect crab cake, you always want to use jumbo lump crab meat. Now I've picked our jumbo lump crab meat to make sure there's no shells in it. But when you make this ingredients, this is an absolute must, is you're going to be using your folding skills. That's what's going to keep this thing incorporated, but it's going to make sure that the jumbo lump crab meat stays together. And that is absolutely the wow factor. When you present this crab cake to your friends or family, they want to see those jumbo lump, they want to see the crab meat kind of exposed at the top, and that's what's going to brown to make this thing unbelievable. Okay, let's make our wet mixture, and that starts with one locally grown egg. Okay, we're going to give a very light whisk of this egg, just to break up the yolk and incorporate with the white. Okay, done. Okay, ultimately, now we're going to be going with our mayonnaise. So what I've used is a half a cup of regular mayonnaise. So mayonnaise in, and then next we're going to go with about 1 to 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. Dijon mustard in. Then we're going to go with 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Then one thing I think grows incredibly well with seafood is the zest of a lemon. That's going to give a kind of a bright feeling to this crab mixture. And again, zest just brings the flavor out immensely. And one of the things I think is also an amazing thing is you're going to be using fresh parsley for this mixture. So we want to take a small wad of parsley. We're going to use about 2 tablespoons of parsley, of finely chopped parsley. So when you're cutting parsley, you always want to make sure the stems are taken off. But you're going to basically create it into a nice tight roll, almost a chiffonade, which you would use with basil. But as in all cooking like this, you want your parsley to be all the same size. That's what's important about this mixture. Nice fine chop. Again, around 2 tablespoons. You want to add your parsley into the mixture. Now we're going to go with about a half of a tablespoon of Old Bay. This can be to taste. Again, when I was a kid, this is one of my earliest memories, was using Old Bay seasoning. This, as you may know, is a McCormick product, and honestly, McCormick is from Baltimore, Maryland. So we're eating the seafood from the waters, and McCormick makes probably one of the best things you'll ever add to anything to do with a crab is Old Bay. Can't get enough of it around here, I'll tell you. Okay, Old Bay in. Then we're going to go with a little bit of pepper, just because I love freshly ground pepper. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to whisk this together. Just a very light whisk, because what we're going to be doing is you're going to be incorporating the mayonnaise and the egg together. It's almost going to be a kind of a thick cream mixture. Look how beautiful the Old Bay is mixing with the parsley. And our wet mixture is almost done. Okay, so now what we're going to add is panko breadcrumbs. Add that into your mix, and then a light little stir. Okay, we have beautiful crab. This is a pound of crab meat, fresh Chesapeake blue crab meat. Okay, this is going to go into your mixture. Handle it with kid gloves. This is a Chesapeake secret. This is the rock star of these crab cakes, is your jumbo lump crab meat. Look how beautiful that crab meat is. Just absolutely stunning. Beautiful white crab meat. Okay, now you want to slowly fold the mixture together from the sides, and a standard fold goes around the rim of your bowl and moves to the middle. That is a standard fold, very lightly. All you're doing is light incorporation here. Again, light fold. We are ready to rock and roll and make our crab cakes. Okay, spoon out. This part is important too. So you want a tray here because, again, this is going to go into the refrigerator. So you want your paper as the base, and we're going to be making these crab cakes. Small handful. Our crab cakes are done and they're in the refrigerator cooling. Now it's time to make this thing amazing by making a homemade remoulade sauce. It's going to be a mayonnaise-based sauce. It's going to have a lot of different spices and mustards and things. It's going to really top this crab cake off and send it to the next level. We're going to go with 1 cup of standard mayonnaise as your base. So about 3 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. And as I said before, lemon always adds a wonderful fragrance and taste to everything in that is crab or any kind of seafood. So you want to go with, I would say, around 1 tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemons. So you really want to squeeze your lemons through your hands to catch the seeds. About 1 tablespoon. A couple nice squeezes here. I could smell the lemon. It's going to really make this crab cake mixture kind of take to the next level. And then we're going to go with Worcestershire sauce. I would say about 1 teaspoon. Okay. It's going to add a little saltiness to it. And then 1 teaspoon of paprika. So I would go with about a half a teaspoon of fresh salt. All right, lastly, what we want to add to this remoulade sauce is your favorite hot sauce. Now this is my favorite. It's Frank's hot sauce. Probably one of the best you'll get on the market. You can use this to taste, but again, if you love hot things, you already know how much you can temper your sauce. So keep that in mind. About 1 tablespoon is to my liking. Now you want to fold to incorporate. And since there's the Worcestershire sauce in here, you always want to fold first because I'm going to actually add a whisk here. So you always want to tilt your bowl. You always want to work away from yourself so it doesn't fly up in your face. You want to whisk lightly to incorporate. You don't need to turn into a fluffy nature, but you want to make sure that this allows all the flavors to come together, which looks like we're there already. Look how beautiful that is. Look at the consistency. It's light enough to drizzle if you want to make this a drizzle over your crab cakes. If you want to use this as a garnish on the bottom of your plate, you could. Okay, so everything is ready to go. What we're going to do now is we're going to talk about toasting the bun and what type of roll you use. So what I think makes the most amazing crab cake sandwich is a brioche style roll. They're almost made like a cake. It's one of the best breads you can get is brioche. From a French perspective, it's made with the right ingredients to be moist and delicate and just amazing for a crab cake. It has flour, eggs, and butter like anything else a cake or bread would have. This will make the best roll for your crab cake. I like to toast these types of rolls, so we're going to lightly butter them. Make sure you have softened butter. You don't want to add too much, but a little light butter will toast these things up perfectly. Okay, now we're going to be frying our crab cakes. This is the most important part of this whole meal, is to make sure they're golden brown, but they still are baked in the oven to finish. So we're using a Silverstone pan, which is normally great for a non-stick experience. So we have it on medium-high heat. Let it heat a little bit. We're going to add about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil to the pan. What I like to do is add a little bit of butter to the olive oil. If you went straight butter, this would burn like no one's business. But when you add it with oil, that's a great little trick. You're not going to burn your butter. but you'll be able to fry this thing perfectly and get the butter flavor, which is incredibly important. So we're ready to add our crab cake. Okay, we're gonna go with 2 crab cakes in. Okay, whenever you're cooking things like this, you wanna let it sit to enable it to crust. That is incredibly important with this because, again, we're gonna cook these on the outside and we're gonna create a nice caramelization and we're gonna finish them in the oven. You're gonna let them sit for a little bit. You can almost smell when it's almost getting to that point. We're looking for a nice golden brown. Look how beautiful that is. Wow. Nice golden brown. Okay. Wow, they smell unbelievable. You can smell the spices already. You're just really going to let that sit. What's going to happen is the bottom is going to get nicely golden brown to match the top. And then what we're going to do, I have in my oven on 350 degrees, which is not very high. And all that's going to do, the baking is going to take place around. It's going to cook the inside, but leave the outside almost as brown as it was when we left it. Okay, crab cakes are almost done. They're going to go in the oven for a little bit of time to finish the inside. The inside is going to bake to match the outside. Oh, beautiful crab cakes. Okay, out of the oven. Look how beautifully golden brown these things are. They are cooked perfectly. I can tell already from the glistening that the butter is going to add a lot to this dish, but really it's cooked perfectly inside. So you want to take one of the crab cakes out, okay, because we're really going to be plating these things. Okay, we have what we need to finish our Maryland crab cakes. 2 beautiful crab cakes, golden brown, exactly how you want them done. We have our brioche buns, perfectly seared on the outside. It's going to be crusty. It's going to be amazing. We have our leaf lettuce. This is an underrated lettuce. I use this for almost all of my sandwiches. I love green leaf lettuce. And I have to say, the star of the show, other than the crab cakes and the roll, are some of the most beautiful tomatoes you're likely to find. One of my best friends, Rose, who actually has an amazing deck garden. She grew these from hand. They're beautifully locally grown. They're going to make this sandwich so fresh and beautiful. The perfect Maryland crab cake. Let's give this thing a taste. That is the perfect crab cake. This would be a pleasure to serve your friends and your guests. It would be a bigger pleasure to be on the opposite end eating these things. This is Greg Shelton with Historic Living, Modern World. And make sure whenever you do something, make sure you do your best to move people. This sandwich will make your mother proud. Cheers.